Rev up your engines!
Stoney of One says, Scotty, what do you think about certified pre-owned vehicles, particularly Lexus? Certified pre-owned, to me, it's a bunch of nonsense. It's just they put a name on it and they charge more money because they're all at dealerships. I'll give you an example. I once went to a Toyota dealership. Customer paid me to check out a car for him. And I checked it out, and I'm checking it out, and I look, it was a quart low on oil, and the oil was dirty, and it was said it was a certified pre-owned vehicle. So I told the guys at the dealer, I said, you know, the thing was low on oil, and it was dirty. And they said, oh, well, we haven't changed the oil yet. I said, it doesn't matter. It's too late. It's dirty, and it's burning oil. The engine's been damaged, and I told my customer not to buy it. And, of course, all they'd have to have done would be to change the oil before I checked it, and I would have never noticed that. But they didn't. A lot of it is a bunch of malarkey. They don't have anybody that goes with a fine-tooth comb to check it out, you know? It's just a sales gimmick, you know? And since they're all at dealerships, they charge too much money for their cars anyways. I once bought a Toyota Celica for my son for $900, and he drove it for ages. And that same one, when I was looking for one, I found a Toyota Celica that was the same age. It was 15 years old at a Toyota dealer, and it had 50,000 miles more than the one I paid $900 for, and they wanted $6,500 for it at the dealer. So, and it was certified pre-owned, you know. Bunch of malarkey, if you ask me. Etta Coonley says, Scotty, what do you think about the Chinese car brands selling cars in Europe now? They're at great prices. This is a good buy. It's like everything else made in China. There's good things and there's bad things. You're not going to be able to tell one from the other until they've been out for a really long time, or you're not going to be able to tell until you buy one and experiment with it and see what happens. From what I've seen in my experience with people all over the world that email me, that company Geely, Geely, I guess, they make pretty good vehicles. And if it's one of those, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to buy one. You got to do a little research first. Eventually, they're probably going to be selling cars all over the place, because I know GM now sells more cars in China than they do in the United States. Those are all made in China. They don't sell them in the United States yet, but I'm sure one day they will. Just like Ford announced that they weren't going to be making cars anymore in the United States, just SUVs and pickup trucks, and the Mustang, which was their big Ford sellers. But they're making cars in China, and I'm sure at some point in time they'll probably start importing them to Europe and the United States and selling them. You know, eventually they'll probably be making really good cars, but you want to do a little research first on which models people have had and which ones had the least problem. And they don't sell them here yet, so I can't say from my experience. Maverick Shock says, good morning, Scotty. My 04 Honda keeps shutting off every time I stop or turn it on. You know what the problem is. Thanks. Keep doing what you're doing. Oh, I'm having fun. I'm not going to stop. If it keeps shutting down, the first things you do is the obvious things. Take out your air filter. I've had more customers bring me cars. The only thing wrong was the air filter was filled with crud. You might just need an air filter. Now, if it doesn't, there are things that can get dirty and clog up. You get 2 cans of the spray cleaner. It'll cost you, I don't know, $14 combined from, take you maybe 45 minutes to run them through and clean it. And that might solve the whole thing. I see it all the time. If not that, listen for vacuum leaks. If you hear a while you're driving down the road, or you open the hood, you hear it sucking air, it's a vacuum leak, and fix the vacuum leak, because that'll do it too. Jay Johnson says, Scotty, I'm thinking about buying a used Prius 5. What should I watch out for? Well, one, I wouldn't buy a used hybrid car because they're too complex, and when they get old, they cost an absolute fortune to repair. But if you're gonna buy a used one, pay a guy like me to check it out beforehand, because that machine that I just showed you that cost me $5,000, I plug that into that Prius, I will get thousands of pages of data that can be analyzed. Gotta pay a mechanic to check out one of those. Don't ever think about buying one without a mechanic checking out who knows all about Priuses and understands how they work. And if you want to gamble it, go right ahead. Zadalef says, I got an ABS light on Toyota 3S FE engine. Code scanner just says ABS failure, cables look fine, possible culprits. Here's the thing about ABS. Anti-lock braking systems are all run by computers. There's sensors on each wheels. They're very complicated systems. You got a cheap scanner and it just says ABS failure. You got to find a guy like me that has one of these scanners. This is a $5,000 one. We go in, we can see the wheel speed sensors. We can see I'll get like 50 lines of data on the ABS system, and I can figure out what it is. You can't work on them without one of those computers and a guy who knows how to operate it. Now, most ABS systems are fail-safe. If the ABS breaks, it goes back to normal, non-ABS brakes, like most of my cars are, and it's perfectly fine. But if you want it fixed, you're going to have to find a guy like me that's got an expensive machine, because you're not going to go buy a $5,000 machine and learn how to operate it. Find a guy like me that says they'll check it out for $85, pay him $85, and they'll tell you what they found wrong with it.
So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.